financing a car these days, it's just really a bit of a minefield. There's so many options out there now to pay for a car, it can get quite confusing. So some of the main ones which I want to discuss today include hire purchase, PCP, personal contract hire, and obviously the option of just buying a car outright itself. Now each of them kind of have their own advantages and disadvantages, and to be honest, depending on your situation, it might determine which is the better option for you. So in terms of the 140 that I've purchased, you really, for me, I don't have £30,000 plus to spend outright on a car, and quite frankly, on a car like this, which is probably going to suffer some pretty serious depreciation, I don't really think it's the right thing to do. Investing money in a depreciating asset, it's really not kind of the smartest thing. So I looked at the personal contract hire and leasing, and that's basically where you pay an initial deposit, and then you're pretty much paying a figure each month to rent the car itself. Now, whilst on paper it doesn't look too bad, you are kind of stuck with the car at that stage, because you're agreeing to have that car for 4 years and to effectively hire it for that 4-year period. So you don't have much flexibility when it comes to if you want, for example, to change your car halfway through the term. Now, the advantages are you pay a lot less a month than if, for example, you were buying the car outright. Your monthly payments on this could be £600 plus, whereas if you're hiring it, it might be $350-ish a month. But then when you're looking at figures of that amount, it's to me at least, it made much more sense to look at PCP. Now, PCP is where you actually put down an initial deposit. It can be a small amount. So in my case, I only put £2,000 down on this particular car. So you agree a term to have the policy over. In my case, it was 48 months, and you also agree an annual mileage limitation, which I went for 8,000 miles because I average about 5,000-6,000 miles a year. Now, where this differs from, say, hiring, you're actually paying off the car, and at the end of the period you'll be given a balloon payment, which you can at that point hand the car back or pay off the remainder, which I think for myself is about £12,000 or something like that. So where you get some additional flexibility with PCP is, say I got halfway through my policy and I want to upgrade the car, for example. I can go to a dealership, find a car I want, and they can actually pay off the remaining settlement to actually take on the car, and then allow me to start a new policy against a new car. Now, the only time that gets a little bit eerie is if you can get in a period where you actually owe more money on the car than what the car's actually worth, and that can put you in what they refer to as negative equity, where I could be going into a new car and owing £2,000 on this one. Well, that means if I bought a car for 20 grand, then that car is actually, I'm going to have a new policy for £22,000 unless obviously I clear the difference. So that can be a little bit dodgy, but if you're considering this versus hiring or leasing, then actually you've got a bit more flexibility this way round. And when it comes down to the actual hard numbers, there's not a huge deal in it. So I've actually picked this car up. I think it's about £38,000 spec, but because it's pre-reg, a bit of negotiation and so on with the dealership, I actually got this down to 29,000, which is a huge amount of that depreciation is already being done for me. Now, I also managed to negotiate getting this car on the new car finance plan that BMW have in place. So generally speaking, because it's pre-registered, it's classed as an approved used vehicle, and the finance rates are something silly like 10-11%. But yeah, I managed to get it down to the new car finance, which is about 4.9, which is still quite high, to be honest, but yeah, unfortunately they've dropped all of the 0% offers since earlier on in the year, so I kind of missed the boat a little bit there. But with all that in account, this car is costing me about £370 a month. Now, if I wanted a bog standard one with no options and everything else on a hire, I've been looking at a few policies, putting down the same, about £2,000, and yeah, you're looking at about £360, £370 for a standard one. So when you actually do the maths, it doesn't really make much sense to go with the leasing option. Now, that's not for all cars. I know, for example, they're doing some absolutely amazing rates on the Golf R at the moment if you wanted to lease one of those. But yeah, for this particular car and the numbers that I got to play with, yeah, it made more sense to PCP. Other options is you can go for a hire purchase, which is very similar to PCP, where you pay monthly, you put a deposit down, pay monthly, but you're paying for the whole amount of the car. There's no balloon payment at the end. So as I said, that pushes the monthly payments up. And another option is, loan rates are still really good at the moment, and you could effectively get a loan for the car and pay it off in one. But as I said, with that option, it's just getting so much depreciation. I mean, it's just going to be painful to watch the fact that, if I bought this brand new at nearly £40,000, paid that outright, to think that I've lost almost 10 grand just driving off the dealership. It's, yeah, a little bit painful. So yeah, obviously different scenarios are going to work for different people, and hopefully everything I've told you today is factually accurate. It's certainly my understanding and my take on the finance options that are available for people at the moment. So yeah, I just really encourage you to, if you are looking at buying one and you're going to any dealers, make sure you are negotiating with them. There is so much room for manoeuvring, especially on pre-reg and brand new. There's so much room to get people down. So yeah, don't be afraid to kind of push your luck a little bit. And what you've got to remember, there's so many of these 140s around at the moment as well that, yeah, don't feel like you need the one that you're going to look at first time. That there's plenty about. So yeah, it was just really a quick wrap up to go through some of the options, and yeah, just to be transparent with how it is that I bought this car and the payments for me, because it's so much more affordable than a lot of people think. And yes, okay, there's a few people out there that will slate the fact that it's financed and everything else, but honestly, it makes so much more sense for me and my use case. It's just the better option all round. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, I'll catch you guys soon.